If ever there has been an era of existence where it is of utmost importance to process and think about what we are told, is right now. The age of information. I'll frequently see posts on social media which are at face value very positive, and it may sound really good, really right, but without thought for what their actual application might mean, are a touch concerning, to say the least. We really need to measure everything we are told against a certain standard of wisdom and logic before just accepting it as truth and our way of life. We can all recognize a generational shift away from intentional learning, self-discovery, constructive self-evaluation, and caution in the masses. And that in itself is causing issues that ripple throughout society. There's sadly a general shift away from accountability, responsibility, and our positive contribution in this world. We see posts that encourage us to just simply, and I quote, follow our hearts in all that we do, end quote, which sounds really beautiful. But we also have to admit that it's very vague, and people continue to follow their comforts, their old habits, desires, and other motivations into self-defeating behaviors and harmful practices, and sometimes unhealthy, toxic relationships. And then we get frustrated in sincere belief that their hearts are the one that led them to that direction. That does not account for taking responsibility for our actions, being accountable for our choices or consideration for others, which of course, all the above is definitely important factors in determining our own enjoyment of life. And we also have to remember not just our enjoyment of life, but as well the lives of others around us. We can hear quotes about letting go of efforts and letting the universe steer our course for us, which once again sounds mysterious and beautiful. But for those of us who choose to stop working, who sees mindfully choosing action over idleness, and becoming indifferent in relationships and employment roles, will quickly discover that life is more like a boat that needs someone to steer its direction. And of course, it also needs an engine to propel it forward. Whilst sailing a boat is great, but there are also currents in that water that can be treacherous. We have to be mindful of other boaters who don't appreciate the lack of paddling. And of course, obstacles to avoid in our path. When we are being honest, happiness doesn't come to those who stop paying bills or earning a living, or those who make no efforts in their relationships with others. Everything we do or don't do will affect everything and everyone around us. And I do believe we should follow our hearts, but be very intentional in making choices with wisdom and caution. I do believe that there is merit to letting go of unnecessary worries and often focus on becoming the best person over being what others may think that we should be, but never ever at the cost of becoming idle or ceasing to contribute to the community or friendship circles and family. It is naive to think that we can somehow control everything in life. However, steering our own car on the road is way much safer than letting other cars smash into us or push us around. And of course, our lives are way much safer at the same time. So, in closing, it is very important to be mindful of steering a course in our lives. As a person of faith, I am first to acknowledge that I am by no means the only factor propelling my life forward. However, I do understand that I am the one making choices for my life. Therefore, I am accountable and responsible for everything that happens in it. You see, we are each powerful beyond our wildest dreams. And I hope that we choose action over inaction in wisdom. We are so incredibly capable. So may we use our abilities to continue learning and understanding even beyond what is required of us. And therefore, ultimately, life is beautiful. But it's nonetheless important for us to question what we are handed and proceed through life carefully. Yeah, man, a word to the wise.